أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Surah 64, At-Taghabun. Title: The expression At-Taghabun is used in the verse 9 of this surah, from whence comes its title. Period of revelation. According to Muqatil and Kalbi, it is partly Meccan and partly Medinan. Abdullah ibn Abbas and Ata ibn Yasar clarify that its verses 1 to 13 are Meccan and 14 to 18 are Medinan. However, most of the Quran commentators regard the whole surah as Medinan. Its contents do not provide a clue about the period of its revelation. On studying it closely, one feels that it may have been sent down in the early Medinan phase, which would explain why it seems both Meccan and Medinan. Subject matter and themes. It instructs on the professing of faith, on obedience, and on excellent morals and manners. Verses 1 to 4 address all of humanity. Verses 5 to 10 are directed at those who refuse to believe in the Quran, while verses 11 to 18 address those who believe in it. While addressing all human beings, the Quran apprises them of 4 truths. 1. This universe inhabited by them is not without its Lord. Its creator, master, and ruler is Almighty Allah, whose perfection is testified to by all that is in this universe. 2. This universe is not without a purpose. Its creator has brought it into being in truth. People should not have the delusion that this worldly life is some vain sport without any meaningful end. 3. God has created them in the best of molds and giving them the choice between faith and unbelief. Their opting for either is, once again, not a trivial matter. God watches to see how they exercise this freedom to choose. 4. They are not beyond reckoning. Eventually, they have to return to their Creator and appear before Him who knows all that is in the universe. Nothing about them is hidden from Him. He knows even the secrets of their hearts. After explaining these 4 truths about the universe and man, the surah addresses those opting for unbelief, drawing their attention to the rise and fall of communities throughout history. Although man may offer all sorts of justifications for the rise and fall of communities, God, however, unravels the truth. There have always been only 2 basic causes of the fall of communities. 1. They had refused to listen to the messengers sent down for their guidance. As a result, God left them on their own. They fabricated their own fanciful notions and strayed further into error. 2. They had rejected the doctrine of the hereafter and turned to the delusion that the life of this world is everything. They ruled out the next life and also their entire outlook on life. Their conduct was perverted and eventually divine punishment overwhelmed them. The earth was thus purged of them. After stating these 2 important historical lessons, the unbelievers are asked to see reason. If they want to avoid the horrible fate of earlier communities, they should better believe in Allah, His messenger, and the light of guidance sent down by Him in the form of the Quran. They are warned at the same time against the day of judgment, when all the earlier and later communities and individuals will be gathered. Each one of them will stand exposed on the day, and their fate will be decided on the basis of their faith and good actions. It will be ascertained who had opted for the straight way and who went astray with his unbelief and rejection of truth. The former will be entitled to eternal paradise, and the latter will roast forever in hell. Then the believers are given these valuable directives. 1. Every calamity befalling man is by Allah's command. Allah guides the one who remains steadfast in his faith even in adverse circumstances to the truth. In contrast, the one who in adversity abandons his faith out of panic or resentment cannot escape suffering without His command. Man's disobedience incurs the priceless loss of divine guidance. 2. A believer should not only profess faith, but should practically obey Allah and His messenger. If he refuses to obey, he will be responsible for his loss, for the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, has performed his duty of conveying the truth to him. 3. A believer should repose trust only in Allah and not in any worldly power or his own self. 4. For a believer, his belongings and his family are a trial. Love for them can drive one away from the path of faith and obedience. Believers should therefore be careful about their families and should not distract their families from the way of Allah. Moreover, believers should spend their earnings in the cause of Allah. This will protect them from the love of money. 5. Every human being is accountable in proportion to his capacity. Allah does not demand that anyone works beyond his capacity. Nonetheless, a believer should work to the extent that he is able with God consciousness in his speech, character, and dealings. He should not cross the limits set by Allah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير.
All that is in the heavens and all that is in the earth extols Allah's glory. His is the sovereignty, and to Him is all praise due. He has power over everything.
He has power over everything.
God is all-powerful and can do whatever He pleases. It is beyond anyone's ability to limit His power.
هو الذي خلقكم فمنكم كافر ومنكم مؤمن والله بما تعملون بصير.
He it is who has created you, and among you are those that deny the truth, and among you are those that believe in it. Allah observes all that you do.
خلق السماوات والأرض بالحق وصوركم فأحسن صوركم وإليه المصير.
He created the heavens and the earth with truth and shaped you, giving you excellent shapes. And to Him is your ultimate return.
يعلم ما في السماوات والأرض ويعلم ما تسرون وما تعلنون والله عليم بذات الصدور.
He knows what is in the heavens and the earth, and knows what you conceal and what you disclose. Allah even knows what lies hidden in the breasts of people,
and knows what you conceal and what you disclose.
This can also be translated as follows. He knows whatever you do secretly and whatever you do publicly.
ألم يأتكم نبأ الذين كفروا من قبل فذاقوا وبال أمرهم ولهم عذاب أليم.
Has the news of the unbelievers of the past not reached you? They disbelieved and then tasted its evil consequence. A grievous chastisement awaits them.
ذلك بأنه كانت تأتيهم رسلهم بالبينات فقالوا أبشر يهدوننا فكفروا وتولوا واستغنى الله والله غني حميد.
This was because their messengers would come to them with clear signs, but they would say, "Shall mortals like ourselves guide us to the right way?" They rejected the truth and turned away. Thereupon Allah became unconcerned with them, for Allah is self-sufficient, innately praiseworthy.
زعم الذين كفروا أن لن يبعثوا قل بلى وربي لتبعثن ثم لتنبؤن بما عملتم وذلك على الله يسير.
The unbelievers have vehemently contended that they shall not be raised to life. Say to them, "Yes, by my Lord, you shall surely be raised to life, and you shall certainly be fully informed of all that you did. That is easy enough for Allah."
Say to them, "Yes, by my Lord, you shall surely be raised to life."
The affirmation of the hereafter by stating it on oath gives rise to the question, what difference will it make for anyone who denies the hereafter, whether they affirmed it on oath or not? Since they do not believe in the hereafter, how can we expect them to believe in it simply because someone states its veracity on oath? The answer to the question is that the audience of the Prophet, peace be upon him, thanks to their personal knowledge and experience of him, were well aware that he never said anything untrue in all his life. Hence, notwithstanding the slanderous allegations they fabricated against him, they knew in the depths of their hearts that such an utterly truthful person could never state an oath anything about which he was not absolutely sure.
فآمنوا بالله ورسوله والنور الذي أنزلنا والله بما تعملون خبير.
So believe in Allah and in His Messenger and in the light that we have sent down. Allah is fully aware of what you do.
And in His Messenger, and in the light that we have sent down.
The context itself indicates that the light which is mentioned here is the Quran itself. A light is itself manifest, and it also makes other things manifest which were hidden by the darkness around it. The same is the case with the Quran. In the first place, the Quran is a light which makes its own truth manifest. Moreover, through this light, human beings can comprehend all that they are unable to comprehend
through the usual means of knowledge and intellect available to them.
يوم يجمعكم ليوم الجمع ذلك يوم التغابن ومن يؤمن بالله ويعمل صالحا يكفر عنه سيئاته ويدخله جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا ذلك الفوز العظيم.
You shall come to know that when He will assemble you on the day of gathering, that shall be the day to determine mutual gains and losses. Whoever believes in Allah and acts righteously, Allah will have his evil deeds expunged and will admit him to gardens beneath which rivers flow. Therein they shall abide forever. That is the supreme triumph.
You shall come to know that when He will assemble you on the day of gathering.
The day of gathering means the day of resurrection, when all humans ever born in the world from the beginning of creation until the last day will be gathered together at the same time.
That shall be the day to determine mutual gains and losses.
Whether one has made a gain or incurred a loss will only be known on the day of resurrection. It is only then that it will become clear as to who has acted foolishly and who has acted sensibly, who devoted his resources to a worthless enterprise and is thus a pauper, and who directed his energies, ability, wealth, and time to a gainful bargain and will thus obtain immense riches. These gains could also have been obtained by others had they not failed to know the truth.
والذين كفروا وكذبوا بآياتنا أولئك أصحاب النار خالدين فيها وبئس المصير.
As for those who disbelieved and gave the lie to our signs, they shall be the inmates of the fire and will abide in it. That is a woeful resort.
ما أصاب من مصيبة إلا بإذن الله ومن يؤمن بالله يهد قلبه والله بكل شيء عليم.
No misfortune ever befalls unless it be by Allah's leave, and whosoever has faith in Allah, Allah directs his heart along the right path. Allah has knowledge of everything.
وأطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول فإن توليتم فإنما على رسولنا البلاغ المبين.
Obey Allah and obey the Messenger. But if you turn away from obedience, then know that our Messenger has no other duty than to clearly convey the truth.
الله لا إله إلا هو وعلى الله فليتوكل المؤمنون.
Allah, there is no God but He. In Allah should the believers put all their trust.
Allah, there is no God but He. In Allah should the believers put all their trust.
All power of overlordship belongs exclusively to God. No one else has the power to make or mar anyone's destiny. God alone can make someone prosper, and He alone can avert adversity and suffering. Hence, anyone who sincerely believes in the one true God has no option but to put all his trust in Him and continue to perform his duty as a person of faith, fully convinced that good lies only in following the way which God Himself has directed His creatures to do.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن من أزواجكم وأولادكم عدوا لكم فاحذروهم وإن تعفوا وتصفحوا وتغفروا فإن الله غفور رحيم.
Believers, there are enemies to you from among your spouses and your offspring. So beware of them. But if you forgive and overlook their offenses and pardon them, then surely Allah is most forgiving, most compassionate. In
terms of worldly relationships, a person is wont to regard his spouses and offspring as his dearest. But seen from the vantage point of religious faith, they could also be considered his enemies. This enmity might manifest itself in a myriad of ways. Some people might be enemies because they prevent him from goodness and urge him to evil. Others might be enemies because they prevent him from proceeding along the path of true faith and push him towards unbelief. Still, others might be enemies insofar as their sympathies lie with the unbelievers. Whatever the case might be, he needs to be on guard against them and not overly attuned to these bonds to the point of ruining one's prospects in the hereafter. On the other hand, this does not mean that he should be harsh in his dealings with his immediate family on the grounds that they are his enemy. The upshot of this directive is that if he does not succeed in reforming his nearest and dearest, he should at least try to save himself from being deflected from the right course.
إنما أموالكم وأولادكم فتنة والله عنده أجر عظيم.
Your possessions and your offspring are nothing but a trial for you, and there awaits a great reward for you with Allah.
فاتقوا الله ما استطعتم واسمعوا وأطيعوا وأنفقوا خيرا لأنفسكم ومن يوق شح نفسه فأولئك هم المفلحون.
So hold Allah in awe as much as you can, and listen and obey and be charitable. This is for your own good, and whoever remains safe from his own greediness, it is such that will prosper.
إن تقرضوا الله قرضا حسنا يضاعفه لكم ويغفر لكم والله شكور حليم.
If you give Allah a goodly loan, He will increase it for you several-fold and will forgive you. Allah is most appreciative, most forbearing.
عالم الغيب والشهادة العزيز الحكيم.
He knows that which is beyond the ken of perception, as well as that which can be perceived. He is the most mighty, the most wise.